out this week. I haven't started it yet. Reading it. I haven't take a look. I was looking at all those examples from Canto. Um, see the logic on the basic ones. The non. There are some functions or variables that I don't know where to find it, and I have to look for different type of files, and I get lost on it. So idea on how I can improve my logic on reading the or going reverse engineering
Like the
these
reports.
kind of examples. Yeah.
Okay, so was that homework two?
As was part of the homework and identify one of those non-compliance or um,
Yeah.
identify those low. You have the all the last one open.
Okay. Yeah, let me
The
share.
LO1 and LO2. Check some of those, but as soon as I start checking, the high risk, like it really interesting how they find the answers, how they test it. Like I really know how these guys can have this to work on the test and do the hacking. That really it, um, my mind a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Actually,
So we
the more
can
I remember,
I was gonna say we can go over some of these if that would be beneficial.
um, see which one. I started doing the second one, but let me remember the one on the last one I did on Canto. Just like after 6 p.m., my brain stopped working properly.
I feel you. Cause you work as a developer, right?
No, I'm completely not a developer. I might be an architect. I might have an idea of how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I used to know how the people know the work, and so I work my people to that part. But I'm always understand the logic, but not really as a developer of a one single item.
Gotcha. So you're the architect.
I can be more as an architect, understand the logic, and expose technical information to high level management. So that was perhaps my last 10 years of work.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I used to be a project manager as a technology consultant, so worked with like a lot of the development teams. Never developed, but would have to pass along that information to like the higher level people.
Yeah. I want to understand the logic and see where I can fit on the security audit field and
Mm-hmm.
where I can help more. Um, I want to understand more and more your um, work on different type of audits that you have done and what type of examples they are looking for and what are the most common vulnerabilities found on different type of projects.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen a lot of gas involved. You know that bad equations can cause miners that hackers can pull contracts,
Mm-hmm.
do the wrong one. So that was very interesting. I was reading it. Um, see if I can share the screen
Yeah. You gonna share your screen?
really quick. I hope that doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, share yours.
So I was reading this one, the lower cases that I found a little bit more logic. Um, how Open Zeppelin has different type of contracts to um, owners, the ownable.sol. So I was reading on that. That really makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how to transfer or resign ownership with a different contract that they recommend with the ownable step
Yep.
or recommendations. So basically, from the owner who is the owner of the contract is the only one who has admin rights on the contract, and they suggest how to be more secure
Yep.
using a two-stage ownership. meaning that you first transfer and then the new owner has to accept the request. It's a function that accepts the request.
Yeah.
That's on the ownable to step. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So the other option is that remove the disadvantage, no, remove the privilege of the owner to renounce ownership, because if you renounce it, then the contract could be like a zombie.
Yep.
So they
Basically,
have some kind
it'll
of
be locked.
mitigation request to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
And another thing to point out there is, and this is a great breakdown, by the way. That was a great way you explained it. The thing with this to note is that not only will it be like a zombie, but it will be locked, because if there's no owner. Hello.
do you give me 30 minutes to cook?
Uh,
Okay, great. To be prepping dinner.
gotcha.
You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, what I was saying here is that um, essentially, it's not only just that it acts like a zombie, but this will be locked indefinitely. No one will be able to modify or call any function that requires an owner, because that owner is now, can be set to someone that doesn't exist, like a zero address.
Right. Okay. In this case, this function means that if the address is 0, let's say no. No, this is only if the font is equal to 0, right?
Yeah, that's only the value. So scroll back up. Let me read this one more time.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Yep. So basically, an owner can just renounce their own ownership and remove themselves from being an owner, which could set it to like a zero address. And a zero address is a special address in Solidity that no one has control, in Ethereum that no one has control over. So
Okay.
if someone renounces their ownership and it's set to like a blank address, like the zero address, then that becomes locked. Every function that requires that owner is now locked indefinitely.
Right. Okay. So no one owns the 0 address.
Yeah, correct. No one owns the zero address.
Okay. Means it can be locked. Okay. Good to know. And when I was reading on the audit, um, and they mentioned what steps to do. For example, what is a critical address changes should use two-step procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to read this information, and then the recommendation that use, and they consider a two-step procedure for critical operations.
Yep.
And there's one thing that I wasn't sure how that works. Their solution following the logic, since they were recommending sometimes to use the new principling ownable step. I'm not sure if this case other other Solidity file will be obsolete. But when I read the ownable to step, it goes back to ownable solve as some other functions, as you see here. Um, so this goes to two different functions that transfer ownership, what the audit is suggesting to do. So that's where I was getting a little bit confused and a little bit I'm finding more complexity into the logic of these new projects.
So can you so I don't think I'm understanding the confusion. So you're saying that it's pointing to the same contract, so you're confused?
Yeah, so on the suggestion of some of the audits goes, okay, just use this new um, call it like a import file,
Yep.
ownable to step,
Yep.
and they're calling some functions. And when I look into this new file, there's no, let's say, announce ownership function. It's not here.
The what function is not there?
Renounce ownership function.
Got you.
In renounce ownership, I know it's in ownable Solidity file. It's in this one.
Yeah,
If I look at it,
it's in the old one.
yes. So I know is cascade ownable two steps called ownable sol file. So if you see here, um, it's the original ownership transfer and also renounce ownership. Mhm. So, I'm not sure on the new version of this project how they interpret the solution, and if I were the leader of this Canto project, I want to understand if they want me to remove completely ownable sol and use the new ownable two-step version, or it's import the two files into the project. That's where I get confused
Oh,
on.
so you're saying that it looks like you can still renounce ownership even if you're using the upgraded one.
Yes, as the
And
ownable to sol has um,
because ownable to
um,
soul, it still uses the ownable contract, right?
right. um, uh, in a second layer, I don't know how to express it.
Yeah, it's inherited.
It's inherited.
Yeah. So that's a good question because it looks like someone could still renounce ownership.
Yes,
But
no,
I haven't looked at the code, but what I'm assuming is so there's also a let me see.
hmm. I
Which
should have put my notes, but I was just reading. I was going step by step, layer by layer to understand the code step by step and go
mhm.
slowly, and then I made comments. But then that's where I found like I got confused on the audit and recommendations.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my only question.
I see. So okay. So basically, so look at go to the recommended mitigation steps
Mhm. On which one? On the any?
on the renounce ownership.
Mhm.
Okay. There. Okay. So we recommend either re-implementing the function to disable it
Mhm.
or to clearly specify if it is part of the contract design. So basically what there's a you pretty much inherit contracts, right? You have a contract
Okay.
and you can import it into your contract and use that functionality. There's also a way for you to override that functionality and you can kind of modify what it's doing. So what they're suggesting is basically they modify they just can't call it. I think that's
Mhm.
basically what they're saying and
I
it
I
and
missed you on the last part.
so basically what they're saying is to disable the ability to renounce ownership.
Okay.
So
So in here,
uh
where is it? Is this only a recommendation, or is there any code that suggests doing it?
so uh uh-oh, I think my Wi-Fi is cutting. Okay, so basically um you're able to modify is that either disable like basically disable or modify the ability to renounce ownership or excuse me in your contract docs or how you specify the design make sure you communicate that it's clear that an owner can renounce their ownership. That's basically what it's saying.
Okay, but it's not in any code here. It's only mention it as a recommendation.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So basically, you're confused that why do they have that code pasted? Uh,
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense. I see your confusion. So what they're doing right here is,
Distributed fees.
so what they're saying is this distribute fees is what's going to be affected if the ownership has been renounced. Because look at
Okay.
only owner. See that only owner? Uh,
Up here.
so line 149.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you see function, distribution
Mm-hmm.
fees, public, only owner, right there, right? That, yes. That basically says if an owner calls this function, allow this function to be operated on, allow this function to run. If anyone other than the owner calls this function, it's going to reject. It's like access control.
Oh, okay.
So what they're pointing out is that if someone were to renounce ownership, this function would be disabled. Like no one will be able to call it because there's no owner, and it's going to always reject. So they're just stating what would happen if someone renounced the ownership. They're stating that distribute fees would essentially be locked from anybody.
Okay. Here, uh, in theory, the owner is the only one who can withdraw the funds before. Well, the owner responsible to withdraw the funds before he renounces ownership.
It well, not necessarily withdraw. So this says distribute fees, distribute collected fees to the smart contracts. So basically, it's not withdrawing anything, but they won't be able to distribute any fees.
Okay, if there's no owner, yes, I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm
So
trying to say is like, if I were the owner, I am responsible to withdraw before I renounce the contract.
if you're the owner, yes, you're responsible to withdraw. You're responsible to distribute fees. You're responsible to do all these things that only you can do as as a privileged admin. But what this finding is stating is that if the owner were to renounce their ownership, this would be broken. You wouldn't be able to distribute fees. You wouldn't be able to withdraw. There's certain things you wouldn't be able to do.
Okay.
That's such an interesting design that they put that in there. Interesting.
Yeah. Eh, You want to know what's more interesting? Welcome, Robert. You want to know what's more interesting, Robert? Is that this is built into like the Open Zeppelin's um, ownership or ownable contract. So they have it built
Wow.
in to where an owner can just renounce their ownership, which I would love to speak with whoever designed it that way, because most people who have an admin don't want to renounce it and make them a zero address.
Yeah, I wonder what the reasoning is for that.
Yeah, it's very very mysterious.
Yeah.
I always, when I was reading through the contract, I was like, why did they even allow this to be a thing?
I don't know. I just pointed out my confusion because it was pointing to the new um, file on our two-step,
Yeah.
and then it has another one in this file called the first version ownable.
Mhm.
And plus, I don't know how to interpret on the inheritance, but I think you clarify how could it work.
Yeah. So essentially, it's like, let's say I have, like, are you familiar with like libraries and importing like external code into your code to be able to use it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all inheritance is. Like, you essentially are able to bring in some other code into your code and use that without having to like create it yourself.
Could be any kind of a loophole into calling functions that perhaps a developer has not been even on it, but it's calling that he might not know.
Yes, that is yeah, that is a really great thought. And no worries, no worries, Robert. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I'm good. Um, thanks for hopping in. If you do drop in a bit. Um, so Aldrin, so yes, that's a great call out, because let's say you inherit some vulnerable code, right? You may bring in code that you know what it does partially, but you may not understand what the rest of it does. You have to be careful because you may inherit some vulnerable code. There may be things that you didn't even know you can call or that people could call with that, and so that's something as a security auditor that you have to evaluate because that's a dependency and that's very important.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? I don't know if that.
That makes sense. I think it's very simple, but I wasn't sure how to read it.
Yeah,
And I got stopped here. I tried to make my comments on the GitHub based on these lines. So I was going one by one slowly
yeah.
and tried to figure out. So now they have this turnstile. I guess turnstile SOL is the main code of this kind of project, right?
You said um, turnstile. Say that again.
Turnstile, yes, turnstile SOL. This.
Oh, okay. So that contract. Okay, what about it?
So this is the main contract that we are reviewing.
Yes,
Um,
that is the main contract that auditor was reviewing. You don't you I mean, it would be good to look at that code. And let me make sure I'm
mhm.
I'm extracting right.
Let me look at this one. It is here. Okay, I clicked on the button. Here's the main code.
Oh, nice. It takes you right to it. Yeah. So that's the main code from Turnstile that they were reviewing.
Mhm. So I was trying to get into these details, and then I was going audit critical any level and try to go into the code, understand, and then following the different functions and what other functions are imported, and see where I can understand the information and see where is the vulnerability.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But I go slow. I'm trying to get better and better um, in this. But this has been a little bit helpful, although I'm starting with the very basic ones.
Yeah, with the low vulnerabilities.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a great start. Is if there's going to be a point in time, so like this is very new, right? This is new to your eyes. There's going to be a point in
Yes.
time where after, let's say, you like after this course you do this for a few weeks, you're eventually going to start understanding patterns. Your brain is going to start picking up on things, and the lows will start to become way more clear, and then you can move into mediums and highs. And I still would suggest trying to read those because you may understand a few of them. um,
Hmm.
but yeah, this is great, like that you're actually going into the contract and reading through the code to see how it was vulnerable. Usually people just look at the report, but it's great that you're actually looking into the code to see how the auditor saw the whole contract.
Yes, I was looking one of those fancy ones. It was about the gas optimization, and they have see if it's this one or
Yeah. You,
no. Let's go on my session GitHub. Here's I have my comments.
yeah,
Um,
let me see.
see here, and I don't remember on top of my head.
No, you're fine. You
So
can just take a look at it, scroll through it, and let me know.
if it's adding homework too, it's one of the links that
That Robert has sent.
I have sent. I don't know if it's this one. I have my comments, so I have to go in the comments. But let me see if it's in here. So okay, I put my comments here. It was a different code, but this is talking about how a bad math function basically is on the equation. You have to first multiply and then divide, because that will allow us to have the right numbers before it's being checked, and that won't have a false fail, if that's the right term, of amount of money left in the contract. If, if there's enough money there's a vulnerability that a hacker can withdraw funds without being the owner of the contract. So let me see if where is this code here.
Yeah, where
It's
is
H01.
where is
Um,
it? Is this in Canto?
Can you see that, or I'm not sharing
Is this
the right link?
is this in Canto?
Sorry, I think it's my over here.
Aldrin, can you hear me?
Hear you?
Okay. Is this in Canto or is this in another? Oh, this is in
No one. Yes. Sorry, I was sharing my Git. Let me stop sharing so I can see first. See my whole screen. How we share the window? Okay. Entire screen. Okay, share entire screen. So I put them on Git. No, you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can still hear you. You're good.
Robert asked for this part for me to go on review one of these audits for Numoen. I went to the high risk, tried to understand the contract, and have this solution. So I enjoy reading how this guy do the test attack on their code. Honestly, I will never figure it out by myself. um, the main thing is that this code only tells you that you have on your equation, you first have to multiply and division, the function divide. So if you see here, it's doing the multi function, and then you multiply by the token scale. That means that this will be a 256 digit. And the other one here is first you multiply all the numbers where token scale variable is inside, and then you do the division. These allow to have a more accurate number, and there's no reminder that hackers can withdraw. So that was kind of the idea of this um, high risk finding. So I was looking into this one.
Yeah, that's a really great finding.
Yeah.
So
I understand this what they were doing, but the way he was doing the attack like completely blew my mind in terms
yeah.
of.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, some of these are very high level even for me. So this one is this one I get this one. This is like I don't think I've actually ever tested pulling one of these off in a CTF or anything. But in theory, essentially, in Solidity, just know that you should always multiply before dividing. And if you don't, it's going to lead to precision loss. Because
Okay, that was a word, yeah.
yeah, because Solidity doesn't allow floating point numbers.
Yes, correct. That's what I learned too. That's
Yeah.
true.
So yeah. So usually, like you can, if you multiply or if you divide before multiplying, it might truncate some numbers. You may get just an incorrect number in general. Uh,
And even the code recognizes that everything's all right, like a false fail. But in theory, you will see amounts left over, and that can be withdrawn without the contract's permission or the owner's permission.
where you see that? That's here.
As it says somewhere here, yeah, I remember seeing it. Maybe,
Oh, I
maybe
see.
not.
Because basically, it's going to try to calculate a certain amount to maybe withdraw and give back to the user, but it's not going to calculate the full amount. So some tokens may be left over or locked.
Yes, and that can be left there without of the knowledge of the owner.
Yeah. Is that in this
They're
finding?
doing the wrong calculation. Yes, I remember reading it. He was doing this test.
Yeah, this is good.
He was doing some tests, and he found that he was able to withdraw 0.5 USDC from this test case. This is without affecting the invariant for pools with low decimals.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
another issue is that you can let's say the precision is off. You may be able to withdraw a certain amount of money without actually updating anything. So essentially, if he can just keep withdrawing 5 cents or
Mhm.
50 cents, every like 50 cents and do it repeatedly, they can withdraw a substantial amount of money um,
Right.
without making any changes to the contract state, which would be very bad.
Point. So nobody will know that someone withdrawing.
Exactly.
Ant robbery.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if your job, instead of sending you your full payment for your check, they just withheld like $1. And I mean, I guess that's a bad example, but that's if you were paid like a lot and they just kept taking a little bit of money each time, you wouldn't even notice it. So this is something that would be pretty bad.
I understand the logic, but when I start seeing the way he doing the test attack, it's like I was completely lost
Oh,
on all these steps.
yeah, I honestly,
Completely lost.
yeah, and this is will be new for me too because I haven't worked in Foundry. These are Foundry tests. This the reason why it looks a little weird, like the VM prank.
Mhm.
Foundry has special functions and things you can do with it whenever performing
Oh,
your
so this
test.
is not Solidity, this is Foundry.
Yeah, it's Foundry. It's still Solidity. They're still coding in Solidity, but there's extra functions that you can use that it's not normal to use in like this is not how you build a smart contract. If that's what you're asking, like this is not the right uh, structure. This is only for testing purposes in Foundry.
So it could be Foundry or and other type of software used to do Solidity tests,
Yes, you can do
Solidity
Foundry.
contracts test.
Yeah, so just to give a quick overview, Foundry is a framework where you can write tests and interact with your code.
Mhm.
But you can write those tests in Solidity. So this is still Solidity code, but there's special things that you're doing because you're using a certain framework, like that VM stop prank. That's specific to Foundry. There's also another framework called Hardhat, which is
Okay.
another framework, but you use TypeScript and JavaScript instead,
Mm.
and it has a different. It also uses different logic, not different logic, but it just uses a different language other than Solidity.
hmm
And
Okay.
what this is used for is these tests are used to interact with your smart contracts that you create. So that's what this person is
Mm.
doing right now. He's testing the exploit by using the framework Foundry to interact with those contracts.
Mm. I understand. I use something when I see like, hey, what is this COH? Where it comes from?
Yeah.
This VM. With the
Yes.
star prime, that I get the sense, and then okay, I got the liquidity manager and the mount, and um, then it runs this function, and then I completely get lost here.
Yeah.
Where all this comes from?
Yeah. Some of the comments help try to explain what he's doing, but that's definitely understandable. Foundry is a whole nother level of stuff. I think it's great that you're looking at this already because like I honestly don't even I haven't written tests in Foundry yet. At least for proof of concepts. I've experimented with Foundry, but I wouldn't be able to do this right here in Foundry. Maybe in Hard Hat.
Okay, so Foundry, Hardhat, another you say truffle.
Truffle is another one, but Truffle is a little bit older. I don't really see
Okay,
a lot of people using Truffle anymore as a testing framework.
okay. All right, so that's where I really stop. Okay, something is wrong on my analysis. I'm gonna need just go a little step back and go on the lower versions.
Yeah, yeah, but It's still good. Like we love to see this. Keep trying it and try to explain it because you can come here in this session and then we could teach you. We could walk through it with you. We may struggle on it together, but I hope that helps. Do you understand this a little bit better?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I have the idea. I just want to draw it myself, but like, where is all this foundry? How is liquidity manager test file and where is this T in the meaning? What is this kind of standardization of this
Of
contract
this,
means?
yeah,
Is this
it's very weird.
the
So
test?
yeah, so liquidity manager test. That's just the name of the file. The dot
Hmm.
T dot the dot T right there is just Foundry. It's like a standard naming format for Foundry test, and then dot sol is just that it's a Solidity. It's in Solidity.
Okay. Yeah. It was a little bit over my head, still a little bit. Um, but yeah, I want to try it just to make some tests, and provide something similar in the future,
Yeah,
maybe in the next bull run.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I need to do that too. I actually haven't like used someone else's test and ran through it and tinkered with it, which is something I really want to do after I finish some core stuff on my end. I'm learning some things as well, and I'm trying to finish learning hard hat. Then I'm gonna move on to Foundry and try this out.
Okay. Right. So I was just trying, maybe right now is just to understand what is the main concept, and I think precision law is very important to first multiply.
Yeah,
You mentioned, and that's a good thing to find in Solidity. And the other important thing you mentioned is that zero address in Ethereum is the block account is the
it's not controlled by
one.
anyone. So um, let's see if I can look it up. Zero address and Solidity. But the basically how I learned it is the zero address is a special address that no one controls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned about something in the numbers in the math equations that we first had to multiply and divide. What was the main word that you used, the main description of this? No control.
Where is that?
When I was talking about the main characteristic of an equation to avoid precision loss, um, just to multiply before divide.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what about it?
You mentioned you describe it in a different way, which is part of the Ethereum concept.
Oh, yeah. So the idea is that in Ethereum, there's no such thing as decimals. So if you divide before multiplication, your numbers could come out to be a little bit different. They're not going to be as accurate.
Okay, that's why most of the numbers are in huge, big numbers, right?
Yeah, because it's usually like, so one ether is actually 10 e to the 18 or 10 times 10 to the
Okay,
18th power.
okay, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
The decimals are not there, but you had to do the math to, or okay, that it will be, you know, 10, 10 at the power of 6, or
Uh-huh.
any of the case. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, um, let's see if there's an example. Uh, I want to show you loss of precision.
Okay. Let
Um,
me just stop sharing.
and then if it was, okay. Uh, Yeah, okay, this is a great example right here. All right, so okay, can you see this right here, this calculator?
Loading, give me. Mhm.
Can you see my screen?
See it.
You can?
I can.
Okay. Actually, I want to see if it comes up in here. Okay. So it actually does show. Uh, okay. So, in Solidity, since there's no floating point numbers,
Floating point. That's what you said before.
yeah,
Floating point. Yeah.
floating point.
Okay.
So
Got
floating point looks like this,
it. Hmm.
right? You can't do that in Solidity. So in Solidity, you just have the number. There's no decimals after that. It's just the number. So it allows precision. Let's take 5 divided by 4 times 3. Okay?
Mm.
5 divided by 4 is normally 1.25.
Correct.
But in Solidity, it's just 1. And actually, I don't know if I'm going to be explaining this right, but in Solidity, it's just 1. That's what it would be. So, yeah, I think this is a wrong way of explaining it. But if I multiply that times 3, I'd get that. Um, but if I did times 3, this is not a good example.
Mm.
um,
I can check another time on the numbers, but yeah.
yeah, I think I have to use. Uh, what was it? You have to use. Let's see if I can just bring it up. Also, Solidity. I want to use like a more simple formula. Fifty divided by 100 times 8. But if you did, um, I wonder if that's it right there. Yeah, so okay, yeah, that's a good example right here. So here's a good example. 50 divided by 100 times 8, right? You
Okay.
can you can do a few things. So in a normal world, let's do this. In a normal world, when you do have floating points, 50 divided by 100 times 8 is 4, right?
Mm.
But in Solidity, if you do 50 divided by 100, there's no floating points. So it's just going to
Okay.
be 0.
Mm.
Now, if we take 0 times 8, what we're going to get?
Oh.
0.
Mm.
So that's why in Solidity, you need to do the multiplication before division. We need to do 50 times 8. Then we can divide it by 100 and we'd get 4.
Okay, I see your point. Yeah.
That makes sense?
I thought first you have to convert everything in exponential on
No, no, no.
multiple values of 10. Hmm.
No, you don't have to. This is like a smaller scale issue. But just imagine if on a higher scale, like it would still be the same thing. Like if we had 500
Hmm.
divided by 1,000, you would still get zero in solidity. So just imagine like if you did have in solidity, its numbers really look like this,
Yes. Hmm.
but if you still had like such a higher
Yes.
scale, you would
You're
still,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's
that makes sense. So first is multiply and then divide.
Yeah, exactly. So usually for me, because I'm the same way. Like in my head, I see all these zeros and I get confused. I'm like, that's a big ass number. But for what I always do is if I ever am, and if I'm ever reviewing and I see something like if we go to console and I see anything like 50 divided by such and such times such and such, that's an issue.
Mm.
That's a huge, huge red flag. It needs to be 50 times such and such. Then you divide
Yeah.
last, and that is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks for explaining. One, if I stop here, I'm gonna need to drop for another call
Yeah, that's
to
perfect.
prepare dinner. But that was a good follow up.
Cool, man. I'm glad you learned it. It's helpful. That's what we hope this is for. So, yeah,
Definitely,
this,
I try my best in the evenings and some in the weekends. I spend like 3 4 hours. Oh, it hates me sometimes in plugging the computer trying to crack the code for 8 hours
yeah,
straight.
that is definitely good. That's how you're supposed to do it. And we'll be here to help if you run into any issues. We definitely
Mhm.
have faced the same issues, or we still may be facing those same issues.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you. I appreciate your comments and your explanations. That really got me. Hmm.
of course, of
Thanks
course,
for all the support. Hmm.
of course, Aldrin. You have a great rest of your evening, and let me know if you need anything.
Hmm. Ah, you already come up, so
Yep,
best. All right, have to drop, guys. Thank you.
no problem. Hey, Yordi.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. This is Robinson, by the way.
Oh, nice, nice. Good to see you. You have. I feel like you had
You
another
too.
account. Am I
No,
tripping?
this is the same one. I just didn't have any logo. I just changed my logo.
Nah, that's what it is. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I love it. That's lit. How'd you get this? Did
Thank you. Thank you.
someone custom made
Now,
this?
I just went on Google and I found it online.
Nice. I like it.
Cool. But what you guys doing? I'm trying to learn. I'm here to learn.
Yeah. So, Basic Aldrin just came in and had a few questions about the report. We talked a little bit about the Canto report. Did you do the Canto report assignment?
No, I just did the Ethernaut. I did those two assignments, but I didn't get a chance to do um that assignment yet.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, he just went through his assignment and kind of took me through his logic of what he struggled with and what was an issue for him. And I have it recorded on stream, so if you want to
Okay.
go back, it's there, and we could also talk about it too. Um, but is there
Okay.
any problems you ran into that you need help with?
So far, no. I'm actually auditing a contract right now. I'm doing the notional finance. I've been working on that, but
Nice,
as far as like the assignment, no, I didn't get a chance to do it. I'm gonna do it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it tonight when I get done cooking.
cool. Is
So
which one is that? Notional. Oh, you.
that's part of. Yeah, that should be on. I think it's. I got so many of them. I think it's Immunify or Sherlock. Let me see.
Probably Sherlock. Let me see. I didn't know they had another notional. Oh, they do. They got dang. That's
V3.
310. Goodness, this payout is gonna
Yeah,
be
so
crazy.
yeah, I think right. I think I got something, but I'm not all the way there. Yes, on Sherlock.
Nice,
Yeah.
good stuff, man. If you do, that's gonna be
So
dope
you
to
might
see
see
it.
my name on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
that'd be dope. This is hefty. I did not. What is this? In May 15th. March 20th. Hey, this was going on for a while. Um,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
learned a lot too about DeFi. Like I really love DeFi, so this is something that I really enjoy learning. So it's very complex, but I'm learning a lot from it.
yeah. You'll learn a lot from audits like these. I should honestly do this next week. May 15th.
Let me know. I can let me know. I don't mind joining you
Of
for
course,
sure.
of course. Yeah, I so usually what I do is I'm pretty strict about 1 week on, 1 week off. So I would start this, but I know I'll get burned out. So next week, and if you're down to do this together, we can. I
For
plan on
sure.
doing Footium. It's a small one.
Okay.
I don't think it's that many contracts. Um, and it's yeah, like what,
Okay.
4 day contest. It is with football, so I was like, yeah,
Nice.
I feel like I should do that one. Uh,
Cool.
but no, man, if I see your name on this, is gonna be dope. Like, if you get a finding on this, you'll make more money than I've ever made on Sherlock, just because this is such a hefty. This is a huge payout. I didn't even know this was that big. That's wild.
Hmm. Yeah.
So like one high severity may get like 2K, 2 to 5K depending on what it is, or a little bit more actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was talking to Robert, and I was asking him like, cause you already in this field, so I just wanted to get your mindset. Like, do you think it's better to specialize in like one type of project? Like, I like DeFi, so I was thinking about like specializing in that, or is
mhm.
it better to like kind of like just know everything, like NFTs and like kind of have like a broader knowledge of everything, or you think it's better to just kind of like specialize in one
So
type of market?
yeah, that's a good question, man. It looks like so before my answer would have been different, but as of lately, I'm seeing that there are auditors who are specialized in like one thing and one thing, not one thing only, but they've focused on getting either really good at DeFi or really good at NFTs or really good at I don't know ZK stuff. Like some people have dived into one area within smart contracts, and I've seen it give them like wild results. So um, if that like you say you love DeFi, and if you do, I would say do that. I personally I like a variety of different things, and I can get burned out very easily. So like I don't think I could do that. But if you're really passionate about DeFi, then I think definitely go down that track and become really good with it because that is what most of this space is DeFi.
You think so? I thought it would be NFTs because I feel like NFT is more. I won't say practical, but I think it's going to be in the future. It's going to be bigger because everything is going to be an NFT. Like we can tokenize everything, like from houses to to just everything. Everything is going to be an NFT. So I feel like I was going to be missing out if I didn't understand, like really the NFT projects. But it's good to hear your perspective on it. If you think DeFi is the biggest market in Web3. So
Yeah, and that's a good point, man. Like, and see, this is why, and like, I love that intuition of yours of saying like, NFTs is going to be big, and not just because of the artist space, but like, let's say we start tokenized real estate and mortgages and business documents, like that's going to be a whole nother craze and boom of stuff. So that's why I personally like to just see what's new and kind of just dabble in it. Like right now, or not right now, but recently I did I did a decentralized identity platform, and that was interesting. I've worked and done GameFi audits. That was that was probably my favorite. That was super fun working in that space. And then I do DeFi stuff, and it's cool too as well. It's just that yeah, there's always interesting stuff happening. There's always could be a new craze or boom. So I personally would do. I'd be a journalist. I kind of just do like any of them. Um, but for the people who are really successful now, who are like making a lot of money, they know DeFi like the back of their hand, and if you give them a DeFi contract, they would find majority of the bugs. And for me, I couldn't say that I can do that right now because I don't specialize in it. I'm kind of like a generalist. I do NFTs, I do DeFi, I do GameFi, I do decentralized identities, um, and so yeah, it's got personal preference.
Cool. Cool. Okay, that makes sense for
Yeah.
sure.
What else you got?
So, are you gonna do any like are you doing any type of streaming tonight, like for your Ethernaut challenge or anything like that? If not, I'm just gonna go back and do some more auditing for Notional.
Yeah. I hadn't planned on it. I actually was taking a break from streaming. I think I'm gonna switch it up and start doing. I'm gonna start solving the challenges first, and then I'll stream like the process because I realize that some people might not want to see me struggle for like hours on end. and,
Smart.
and so so yeah, I won't be streaming tonight. I all my time tonight was literally dedicated to just answering questions. If you had anything, you needed help with something, then I got you. But yeah, if you don't have anything,
Cool.
then
Okay.
feel
Yeah,
free
I
to.
just go back and watch the video.
Cool, that works.
Cool. Well, yeah. So we don't have class this weekend, right?
Yeah, no class this weekend. It's gonna be free weekend. I still will probably hop on if anyone needs anything or wants to talk through anything. I'll be available, but yeah, no class.
Cool. Yep, I'll be on. And then I may just pop in throughout this weekend and just like audit on your Discord too. So I
Yeah,
don't know, but yeah, man, I'm learning a lot from this project. I really like it. But yeah, man, enjoy your time off, and I see you this weekend.
sounds good. And after this Notion completes, I love to do a breakdown with you afterwards and just pick up what you learned. I haven't jumped into Notional, and if you learn some stuff, I'd love to learn it. And if you teach
Okay,
it,
for
you'll
sure.
you'll you'll learn it better whenever you can explain to me what you did.
You right, but that's my main. That's like my hardest thing. Like with me, man, I'm not the best communicator. Like I need to work on that. Like my technical skills is pretty good, but me trying to convey what I know,
Yeah,
it's hard, man. But I figured it out.
that's all good. That's what I'll be here for, man. You can practice. You can practice with me and try to, and I can let you know, like, hey, maybe you might want to say this. Because yeah, yeah, it's definitely communication is another aligned field for auditors is being able to walk through stuff and talk people through things, and you can practice with me.
Cool. All right, man. Enjoy your time off. See you this weekend, bro.
See you. Have good luck with the audit.
Thank you. All right, later.
All right, bye bye. All right, stream. I'm not sure if any other students are gonna join anytime soon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and close out this session. If you all have any questions of this study hall, you have any questions of the homework for this week, feel free to reach out to me. And if you're watching this later, you're not even in the course, and you have any questions on anything we talked about today, feel free to DM me or leave a comment below. Thanks, y'all. Peace out.